Hey, this is David Ramsey from Arrow, and you're listening to Tomorrow's Legends with Martin, The Flash, Harley Quinn, and X-Force 11. Oliver, don't.
Humans have reached a point of stagnation, and the next step in evolution is upon us. Telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are the powers of the Tomorrow people, and they are about to break out. Join Flash, Harley, and X-Force 11 as they jump to a new story of heroes to follow their fight against a corrupt government who wants to hunt them down. This is the Tomorrow People, as brought to you by Tomorrow's Legends.
Hey there, people of tomorrow. It's time to come meet the boss. What? You thought we were in charge of this show? Oh, no. There's an evil, disembodied voice that talks to us and tells us how to run the show, and if we don't obey its commands, we get brain fried. It's not any fun, guys. Not any fun. This is episode 5 of the Tomorrow People, called All Tomorrow's Parties, and I am the Flash.
And I'm Harley Quinn.
And I'm thinking Irene is Felicity's long-lost sister. I'm X-Force 11.
That is going to be a theme tonight, I think. Yep.
That's hilarious. I didn't even put that together. I see it, though. I see it.
You are listening to one of the shows on the Cybercast Network, where we're currently covering the Tomorrow People and also X-Men 97 and Superman and Lois coming later this fall, as well as possibly the Green Lantern show whenever that comes out. That's on our docket as well. And then there's also Dive into DC with Silver Rocks and Green Butterfly, and the Mandalore podcast covering all the Star Wars shows on Disney+. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. Our network is growing.
It is.
Let's get into our ratings for this awesome episode.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right, I gave this one 9 jaunt battles. What an amazing episode. The jaunt battle between Cara and John was so cool. We got so much depth in their relationship in this episode. We got an introduction to a bigger bad who's over Jed. And we finally get to see the group kind of relax. And then it goes all wrong. But I love the action sequences in this episode, but more than that, I love the emotional impact between our characters. It was just a well-rounded, just solid episode. Just really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no. I am right there with you. I gave this 9 parties that went horribly wrong. Like, the beginning of this episode seemed so ordinary. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like they set the stage well, but it was just all building to, like, these crazy, intense ambushes, like, at the end of the episode. It went from 0 to 60, like, real quick. I was not expecting that. But overall, I thought this episode was super well put together, and as usual, keeps the plot points moving at a pretty quick pace. So I'm really curious about how, in the end, Stephen gets to talk his way out of what he's done with Jed, because, I mean, very clearly, he went off book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, look at us. 3 peas in a pod tonight. 9 bullets a-flying. Holy man, this show got intense fast. Talk about pacing like you guys always mention. Did it just amp everything up after we already said? Whew, the show is flying along. New bad guy bosses, new characters, new tricks with the powers, and more surprises and twists. How did the show not get to keep going? It really had everything going for it at the time it was on live. We got Cara, what looks like she's falling for Steven. Astrid gets to find out what he can do, and there's just so much other things going on this episode, and it was intense, action-packed fun. Loved it.
Yeah, they kept Beauty and the Beast on for another season. And that's why. Because it had a bigger international audience is what I did some digging today. I said, Googled what it was. And so basically, they were saying, Beauty and the Beast has, more of a bigger international audience and bigger fans and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay,
Boo.
Yeah, so
yeah, where's that show now? Like,
yeah. But anyway, so
yeah,
Man.
I think that was when
Sci-fi always gets axed.
Yeah, but I think that was when they were TV. They weren't just counting on viewership ratings and stuff. They were talking about. They were looking at people that were chattering about the show in social media and stuff. If it had a big following and creating that type of buzz, that was kind of where like the producers were like, oh, look at people are talking about this show. Yeah, but you only got 1 million viewers. More people has 7 million viewers. Like, what's better?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But that chatter is what kept Legends alive and S.H.I.E.L.D. all those years. So I can't fault it too much, but it is sad that this one didn't get a better chance.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're at episode 5, and look what it's doing. Like, it's...
I can't believe we're only at episode 5. I mean, it's wild.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we're covering like 3 seasons in 22 episodes. Is what it feels like at this pace.
Pretty much, because if you look at the other CW shows, like by episode 5, they hadn't developed anything yet. Like,
No,
look at the
I know, that's what I'm
Flash
saying.
or whatever, like...
Yeah.
yeah.
Moving right along.
Moving right along. All right, well, let's get into our discussion for this episode.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Guess who got to the notes first? All right, so we open this episode with a training sequence that's actually meant to simulate the field work, but it did look pretty real. They totally got me. I thought this was a real situation, and I was a little bit worried, and then all of a sudden it's like all the lights come on, and I was like, oh, okay. That was good. That was good. But I think what I liked about this is we get to see Jed's form of training. So like John's been talking about it a lot, and we've seen like his version of training, and so now I kind of like getting to oppose that with like what Jed is trying to bring to the table. He's basically like, don't ever hesitate, like strike first. Like he's trying to get those instincts like in place so that they always win. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting.
Yeah. They don't have a danger room like the X-Men, but this really works. I like that we're getting to see the training that makes these Ultra agents so formidable and why they've been such a challenge to the Tomorrow people. Yeah, it was a cool thing to see.
Well, and that's where I'm with you. Like, it fooled me too, yeah, because I forgot all about it. Like, this opening moment, you're just like, holy crap, he's on a mission and he's losing the mission. But I think it's a great way to train. Like, you take it out to the real world and you train in a real environment and you make it feel as realistic as possible. I think that's the best way to train your operatives, because they don't know what's coming. It's not set up. It's not feeling safe. Like they're strung up with wires and harnesses and they're in a padded room. Like, it's you know, it puts them out there as if what it's going to really feel like. And I just think it was a cool sequence. And it shows us, like you guys said, how Ultra operates and why they are such a tough opponent to go up against, because they are highly skilled and highly trained. And if you don't have similar training skills, they're going to take you down, which we see. We see a lot of the operatives being put down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or, I mean, the operatives putting them down, yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super intense.
yeah.
So we get to one of the plot points of the episode where we're sending in Steven to collect a sample of the serum, because the serum that they use to take away the Tomorrow people's powers, because they think that they can make an antidote. So this was an interesting concept to me. I was like, okay, I kind of see what you're doing here, trying to protect yourselves, like come up with like an antidote or like a vaccine almost.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is our introduction to the Tomorrow People's genetic quiz, Irene. And as I said in my opening line, they were trying to make her the Felicity of the group, with the blonde hair, the glasses, you know, being the kind of the nerd there and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was interesting thought on how to take and counteract the serum. So it was interesting. So.
But it's not goofy. It's real world science. You get the poison or whatever, and then you work on it, you reverse engineer it to find out how you can counter it. That creates an antidote. So it's totally believable. It wasn't silly or anything. It's totally believable. So I like it. It's just weird that it was like this ultra fluorescent green, right? Like really bright.
Antifreeze green.
Yeah. But like this girl, Irene, like, yes, she made you think of Felicity. She also made me actually think of my favorite, Patty Spivot, even more. But I wonder if they were actually, they weren't like, oh, we need a Felicity-like character, let's create one, because she comes in one episode and immediately gets taken out. So I don't know if they were just maybe kind of winking at us, like, wink, wink, you think this is going to be that character, but no, it's not, because she's going to get shot and put down. Like, we don't know if she's coming back. She's in the hospital right now, but maybe she comes back. But it's almost like they set you up to be excited, and they take it away. Like, oh, you want this dangling carrot? No.
I'd be surprised if it was that intentional, to be honest. But I do see the resemblance, and I got the vibes now that you guys have mentioned it.
Yeah. But back to that serum, though. I mean, like, stealing the serum, like, that was completely risky because he's in an enclosed environment controlled by Ultra. And to try to take something and just hope that they're not going to notice, because it was so risky. Like, they could have and probably should have noticed that the vial was gone right away. But then, again, what this show is really good at doing is setting you up for the, oh, no moments, because Steven's just tucking it behind his back. And he's got his back to the door, and who walks in the door? Jed. And you're like, shoot, did Jed just see the vial in his hand or what? But he quickly slips his hand in his pocket, and you really don't know if Jed noticed or not. Because it was that close, and this show is really, really good at setting up those scenes. The almost, kind of moments.
Yeah.
No. But, okay. So this sort of leads into, like, this next point about Kurt, but... Like, if they, I mean, we know what happens by the end of the episode. They end up using the serum. So, one, at some point, Ultra, in theory, should figure out that the serum went missing. But because Kurt was the setup, like, aren't they also they're gonna find him at some point and be like, okay, you magically have no powers now? Like, that's another point that Steven's gonna have to talk his way out of. So, we'll come back to some of this later, but yeah, I'm interested to see how what the fallout is from this episode for Steven and Ultra. But anyway, this whole business with Kurt. So going back to the beginning, John is actually confronting him because he has gone and made contact with his mom. It's for good reasons. He wants to reassure her that he's okay, but they've kind of said you can't make any contact, and we find out later in the episode exactly why. So, everything's getting real intense, and then in the midst of all this, Cara's like, you know what? We need a night out. And it's just like, wait, what?
Yeah. Well, it's like everybody's too wound up. We're stuck down here. We're not getting to live our lives, and they need to, get out and express themselves and just have some fun, cut loose a little bit. Because part of it, I mean, it makes sense. You cage up a bunch of young animals, and they're going to get bored. They're going to do something stupid, and it's. I mean, I understand where she's coming from, but
yeah.
Boy, oh boy, you needed to vet your your situation a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I enjoyed this conversation between Cara and John. This was my favorite scene, so we'll talk about it again. But it gives us a window into how things have changed with the group since, I guess, people were added and more responsibility fell on John's shoulders because, they talked about some of the fun things that they did. And I guess that's, when there's 2 or 3 of you and you're not responsible for 30, 40 people or whatever, you can do that. But John now has all of that on his shoulders, so.
Yeah, and John was not happy there. I mean, he's pissed at all the things changing since Steven has come around because he's kind of losing control of the people that he's trying to take care of and keep safe. And it's, he's arguing, I'm trying to do what your dad intended. I'm trying to do what he was trying to do for us the way I think he would. And you guys are screwing all that up. And so he's pissed. He's upset that he's losing control. And he's kind of blaming Steven for all of that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. He's blaming Steven for a lot of it, which we might have that later in the notes, but that definitely comes back like as an argument between the two of them. So,
Yeah.
well, we get introduced to jaunting. Now, I think, Jeff, you've mentioned this term in the podcast before. So in
Right.
the old series, jaunting was what they called teleporting.
Right. Yeah, it was instead of calling it teleporting, they called it jaunting. So
Yeah. So I like that they kind of pulled out this term like as an homage like back to the original series and then
Yeah.
kind of put a twist on it, you know?
Mhm.
It's basically their version of Fight Club. Just, this scene or scenes, I'm not really sure. I'm sure there were cuts, but it just was so much fun. I could watch this over and over again. I was like, this is cool.
yeah, I mean the fighting, the teleporting just takes it to another level. You've got telekinesis pushes, you've got quick teleports, and the use of weapons. It was just so cool and well. I mean, the choreography and the special effects with them, it just worked so well together.
Well, yeah, like I mean, and they're beating each other with sticks. They had like little batons too, like you said, weapons. They were beating on each other. But just imagine the difficulty of filming this sequence, because you have to perform a bunch of fight moves, then like freeze the camera and have the person move to another location and then continue filming or reset it up. Like it's really difficult to stay in that moment while they set up the person go to the other area where they're teleporting to. Like it's a pretty good technical achievement that this show does, and you're doing it in fast action too, because these fights are happening quickly, and it looked good. They did such a good job. I only wish some of our shows had such good choreography, because this one's taking it to the next level. Where like how do you have someone throw a punch and miss because the guy teleported out of there, and then ends up behind you and puts you in a headlock, and it's crazy. That's crazy choreography for sure.
I agree. Yeah. And I think they pulled it off really well. Like it felt very believable, which I feel like is difficult to do with that level of power in that like close proximity that they were filming. So that was well done.
Yeah.
Fun.
Alrighty, so one of the surprises of the episode, or ambushes, I guess, if we're sticking with the theme, Steven gets a chance to meet Jed's partners. Now, I definitely got the feeling they weren't so much partners, so much as the boss, another Lost alum, wasn't he? The guy that calls originally, and then there's the disembodied voice that we never see.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get to the actor.
We'll get to the actor. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought I was like, oh hey, there's another familiar face. That was cool. So the big shock for me, and probably for everybody, is that we learned that the big boss is actually a tomorrow type of person. I don't know. Are we calling them tomorrow people, tomorrow persons, whatever?
Yeah.
So he's testing Steven, sort of. He's trying to get in his head, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's info here, Jeff. Go for it.
Yeah, so earlier, Corbin is the guy that tells Jed that the boss wants to see Steven.
Yes.
Now, he is not a Lost alumni.
Oh.
I know who you're thinking
him.
about, but it's not. It's a different actor. But,
Oh, okay.
so the guy that plays Corbin is Hiro Kanagawa? I don't know.
Kanagawa.
Anyway.
Kanagawa?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So he is another iZombie connection. So he played a lieutenant in that series. But we know him from Legends, where he played Director Bennett in season 3.
That's it. That's it. Okay.
So
Thank you.
he's been in a lot of cool stuff that that we've seen and different things like that. But that since we just covered that season, I was like, that's where we know him. So yeah.
I mean, I knew he was a Legends alumni. It's just fun. Like we were destined to cover the show because of all the connections and not only Robbie and Mel, but there's just a lot of little fun parts in here. Seeing like this new boss character, it's just because what I was thinking of, does this take away from Jed? Because Jed has been our go-to villain right now. He's been the big bad that we're all scared of, and we keep talking about every episode about how great that actor is. Does this take a little bit of shine off of him then now that we know he has to say yes, sir, to somebody else?
This aspect of the series I'd totally forgotten about because, like, I assume that there are people over Jed, but yeah, I agree with you. Having such a powerful Tomorrow person over him raises questions. Like, to me, it's like, was Jed recruited by him to start Ultra, or did this person get power and become the boss over Jed? It just raises a lot of questions. So I think it's doing it in a way that is a twist and a turn that feels, interesting, as opposed to like, okay, they've got to come up with something, So I don't know. That's my feeling. It just, to me, it raises questions, and that gets me excited about like questioning how and what and all that kind of stuff in timeline. So I think it was, a good introduction.
Well, one big question is, does everybody working for him know he has powers?
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good point. I just sort of assumed they did, but you're right. They may not. They
may not. He just might be the rich guy in control. Or maybe he's using his power to manipulate them. Maybe he's getting in their heads and, messing with their minds, so they just don't have a clue. I don't know. I can't remember anything about this guy and how much we find out about him. But so yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to say, like, you look at what the show is doing. 5 episodes in, and the plot is thickening, and the mysteries keep on falling in our laps, and it's absolutely fantastic. What other shows, especially in the CW and the ones that we have covered, have given us this much to dig into in 5 episodes? None of them. Like, it's taken most of the other shows 5 episodes in, you're still just getting to know who's who. Never, let alone dropping new villains and new mysteries and like this is how you bait and hook the viewers. It keeps us coming back. Like, wow, what was that? I need to come back next week and find out who the hell that guy was. Like, because you look at all the questions. Who could this new voice be? Why does he have powers and wants to control all the others? Does his minions like Jed know who he's a Tomorrow person? It makes you think of so much stuff, and I'm hooked. I'm completely like, wow, what mysteries! This was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool, and I like the way that in both of the scenes of dealing with this person, how Mark Pellegrino plays it. I mean, he is genuinely frightened and upset of this person. And so that lends credibility, because we know how on top of things he is, and how just ahead of the game he is, and this person scares him. And it's just that tells you how powerful this person is, and just how, like, when you've got this character who feels so in control of everything and he's not in control, like, it's just powerful. So yeah, it was I think a great way to do it.
And you probably just answered the question, do they know if he has powers? If he's that scared of them, maybe he knows.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's true.
I'm not sure if everybody does, but I think probably like Jed does, and maybe a couple other people, Corbin, and maybe a couple other people do, but maybe not everybody at Ultra, and not everybody
probably not the minions
over Ultra too, like the government or whatever may not know either. Right. So who knows?
Well, and then you think, like, how powerful is this guy? Is he on par with Steven's father? Like, if he can run a company, everybody's that scared of him.
Yeah,
it seems like he's pretty powerful. And so where did he come from, and who is he? And like, there's so much mystery just open up. So I hope we get more, because this is completely out of my memory banks. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, me neither. So,
well, interesting. Well, I guess we'll have to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I am equally curious, so it's interesting that you guys don't remember. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, so I guess we'll find out.
Well, we're going on 11 years. I mean, I've watched a lot of TV in 11 years. So You know?
I know.
So-
We all have. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
All right, so this, I was genuinely nervous for these scenes. So Astrid ends up following Jed and Steven to this warehouse because she's coming over for homecoming, and he texts her basically like, "Hey, I'll meet you there," but she's like almost already to his house, and so she follows them.
She witnessed him going into the back of a dark SUV, so that's automatically like mysterious.
Yeah.
And I was very worried for her safety because she comes in and she confronts Darcy, and she's like, "My friend is here," and she's like, "You weren't invited," and she's like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's my mistake," and then she leaves. I was a bit surprised they actually let her leave, to be honest. So my question is, do we think Ultra is going to go after her in the coming episodes?
Yeah, that's a really good question because we know Jed and Ultra know about her, and they've held her over Steven's head as leverage.
Yes, that's
But I feel like she's more in danger now, not only because like she's like trying to come in on these missions, but now with what we'll talk about later, that she's in on it fully, that Steven lets her in. So I think she's in even more danger now because they know a way to manipulate Steven with her. So
yeah, I mean, she saw stuff and she could talk, so you would assume that she's going to be in trouble now. They might just maybe keep an eye on her a little bit more closely, and I mean, they're also not scared of her. She is just a human, so they don't really have anything to worry about. But I think if they're worried that she might talk, I don't know. I mean, what did she really see? She didn't really see anything. Steven went into the back of a warehouse. Maybe it's a club. Maybe it's what is she going to say? There's really nothing that she has on them right now.
True.
But what I wanted to bring up is I felt a lot of people probably could have taken this scene and went, "Oh my God, Astrid, you're so stupid. What are you following them for?" But to me, I was like, you know what? She's actually pretty brave to follow them. She's showing her true friendship to Steven because she's concerned over him and what he could be caught up in, because she knows him so well. She knows that he's been acting weird. He's keeping secrets from her, and she wants to find out what's going on with my friend. And then when you see him go into the back of a dark SUV and taken to a back alley in a warehouse, she's concerned, and she's showing like, hey, you know what? I got to find out what's going on with my friend. I thought that was brave and not stupid and, oh my God, dumb character. No, I thought that's a good friend, and everybody should be lucky to have a friend like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it was a stupid move. It just made me nervous.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to her?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my head went. But yeah, I mean, it was incredibly brave to follow them in very ominous circumstances. I mean, you've got to get shades of spy, at least, from like that situation. So I would be very hesitant to follow them and potentially confront, I guess, what you would assume is an agent, or at least I would. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was brave. It was bold. I don't know. Well, hopefully they don't come after her, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So in the end, the creepy warehouse turns out to be the party that the Tomorrow people went to. This was a giant ambush. And I was surprised by this. I did not see this one coming. And so as everything is going on, like, you kind of get the feeling that there's something up because their powers don't work, and you sort of like get hints of maybe it's like, is it like something in the alcohol or something in the drinks? Like,
that's what I thought
it was
right away. Yeah, because
yeah.
they're like, oh, this is they're checking their drinks, and yeah.
So I mean, it's not. They figure out exactly what's going on, and it was like, okay, well, now how are they going to get out of this? Because it was a whole setup for Steven, and so, but he ends up slipping away. He fries the power, and then they all are able to get out, but not without some casualties. So this is the part where I'm like, okay, how is he actually going to talk his way out of this one?
Yeah, I have no clue, but it makes me question: is like, will Jed protect him from the big boss? in this. Like, this was like a test from the boss, and it makes me, was the big boss monitoring all this? It's just like, I don't know. It raises a lot of questions of like, where does Jed's loyalty fall? Because like, this is his nephew, but it's like, he's got this accountability over him. So I just don't know. It raised a ton of questions for me. Jed's is he gonna go after Steven? But like, is he gonna have to run interference with his boss? I just don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's go back to what you started with. Like, they're in the bar, and it takes them a little bit of time to realize their powers aren't working. The first thing we think, okay, well, Russell's just drinking too much, and that must screw up your powers. But then when they all one by one start realizing they can't hear anybody, my telepathy isn't working, Cara's like, wait, I can't hear anybody. And then they start thinking, well, it must be the drinks, and they're checking their drinks. No, it's not the drinks. And just by chance, Russell knocks a shot glass off the bar, and John leans down to pick it up, and he sees all of the sensors underneath the bar where you wouldn't expect them. And they happen to be all full of D-chips, which are power dampening the entire place. So the whole place has got this perimeter of these D-chips, and they're all their powers are completely shut down. And then what I don't want to forget also is you've got this place surrounded with, who knows, maybe there's 100 chips there of these sensors, who knows. Steven tries to use his powers, and he can't. And then he focuses, and he goes into that intense concentration. You see him shaking and quivering, and he throws a very Street Fighter-like Haruken fireball. And I was expecting him to say that. And he throws this blast of telekinetic power and blows open the I guess circuitry or fuse box or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And totally fries it.
Fries everything. So now all the power dampening chips are done, and they're able to get out of there. There's a little bit of fighting, but they're more on the run, and they want to get out of there and teleport out of there. So it's just showing us that Steven is insanely powerful, and we don't know what the limits are of his abilities yet. Like, we're seeing when he's in an intense situation, he can elevate his power to something unbelievable.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys, what were you thinking led the leak, where they would be at this point? Because nobody knew where it came from. Who leaked out the information that they were going to be at this bar? Because, like you said, it was a complete setup. So at this point of the episode, who were you thinking it was?
I was thinking that they got through to Steven. That they got through into his head and he didn't know it. Which is what they wanted us to think.
They wanted us to think that, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that, but the other thing is, it made me wonder, like, all these people there were, I guess, all agents, or
good point.
Or most of them were, because they cleared out. I guess they cleared out the other people because they would have to know who, like, the birthday girl was that's party is for. So they would have to know, like, some of the people. But, like, so it made me think, like, maybe it was like they were being fed the info, like the info was being fed to Tim, like, about this party, and it was mostly a setup to try to get them out and to tempt them or something. But yeah, it still's like, I was still leaning toward they had gotten through to Steven at this point, because they have to know that they are going to a party, and so that then they have to set it up. So I agree. I thought at this point it was Steven that they had gotten through to.
Well, and that's exactly what they wanted us to think. But there was just a piece of me that was going, there's this, because this was an entire setup. They actually led them to this bar. They had it completely designed as a trapping point to capture them all, or actually kill them all, because they weren't holding back. They had machine guns. They were trying to gun them all down. Like, this was a slaughterhouse is what this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that
I
was
thought,
insane.
I was thinking, man, I don't think Steven could have given that away. Like, he tried, and maybe that boss man was that powerful, but I thought, man, there's got to be something else. There's got to be a mole somewhere. Who sold them out? And I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
I didn't figure it out before the reveal.
No.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Well, speaking of crazy things, I was not expecting them to let this plot point resolve so quickly about John. So Cara at least now knows his secret. And I thought that was very quick. I really thought that they would try to hide that a little bit longer, but they didn't. And so we learn after she confronts him that he actually was part of the beta test along with McCrane, and he survived it without becoming totally mentally unstable.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was part of the original Annex project, 100% for sure.
Yeah, I'm honestly glad that they didn't drag it out for a long time, but holy crap, this pushed Cara over the edge. This combined with their losses just pushed her over the edge. But I do like the fact that she was upset about him keeping a secret, not about what they did to him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that the side that she took made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this falls right along with how you've been mentioning every single episode, Harley, about the pacing of the show. I mean, they are not dragging things out at all. Where, like, think of how many shows, Flash especially is the biggest culprit. Oh, Barry lied. How many episodes that drag out for? Right?
A lot.
Yeah. So
Half a season.
An entire season, yeah, exactly. So I like that they aren't keeping things dragging out and causing drama. Now they actually have to deal with the drama head on. But what a way for her to witness that and not have to have him confess. She sees him kill somebody. That was shocking for her, and it was such a great scene because it provided drama of a different kind. Like, she witnesses it, and he sees her. He notices that she saw him do what he just did, and I liked that moment instead of him having to talk to her 12 episodes from now. Oh, by the way, guess what? Like, I loved how they set this up. She witnesses him killing. He turns around and he's like, "Oh crap! She just saw that. Now I got to tell her."
Well, but didn't he know that she was there? I think he did it to save. I mean, he did it to save them.
Yeah, but
yeah,
like I said, it was a do or die situation. But the look on his face was like, "Crap! Now you know."
Yes, I agree. Like, I don't think he wanted her to find out in that way, but I think he came to the realization he had no choice.
Yes,
right. And the big issue is that she's right. She and the others would have accepted him even with what Ultra did to him, but it's the secret that's driving them apart. So yeah, like, they're not going to blame him for what Ultra did to him. I mean, yes, he's acting on it, but like, he's acting on it to preserve her life and their lives. So it's one of those things where he's putting all this weight and guilt on himself because he feels not worthy, and they don't care about that. It's the secret that's the issue. And so yeah, I'm glad that she brought that up to him. It's like, it's about the secret. It's not about, keeping the secret. It's not about, what they did. So
Yeah,
I think so. I think I'm with you guys there too. That's what she's more upset with. See how long, that lasts.
I know. We're gonna have to see how this all plays out. How long do they keep it a secret? So I guess that's now the question.
Yeah. But still, good. I mean, the acting, like, it's intense. This was an intense episode, and they're doing really well with it for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of intense, this whole business with Irene. So she's shot and injured, potentially like fatally. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and John is in full like rage mode. He's like, no one is going anywhere, no one's breaking protocol, everybody stays here. This was a mistake. We never should have done this. And then Steven's like, I have to take her or she's going to die. And he wasn't willing to sit there and watch her die. So he does end up leaving with her. And in the end, he thinks that she should be okay. So we'll just have to see if she makes another appearance in later episodes.
Yeah. So I think the real question here is, how are they going to get around the police? Because showing up in the ER with gunshot wounds is not going to be something that you can, like, you know, get away with very easily. They're going to have questions. And look, I know Steven's mom works there, but still, it's like, how are you going to get around that?
Well, what story is she going to tell if she survives, right? Like,
right.
How did you get shot? Like, the police are going to have questions. Who shot you? How did you get shot? Where were you? All this kind of stuff. But I don't think Steven's going to get caught in this, because when I rewatched it, he said he had to get out of there quick. So I'm wondering if he dropped her at the ER doors and then teleported out of there before anybody saw him. Because he says, I'm breaking the rules, and he takes her there. So I think he just kind of blinked in, dropped her off, blinked out of there, and then doctors were like, oh my God, and they went and grabbed her. So I have a feeling he never got seen or noticed. And she's the one that's going to have a story to explain if she makes it through.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I guess we'll see how that all ends up playing out. But the next scenes, Cara gets to read everybody, trying to figure out who's the traitor. So I thought that was a very interesting turn of events. And it turns out Kurt breaks. He's the one who set up the ambush. When he went to visit his mom, Ultra was there, and they forced him to help. So,
or they're going to kill his mom.
Exactly. So I do have a little bit of question of events. So they forced him to help. Was this before or after they had talked about the party?
So the Ultra agents were there when he showed up at his mom's home.
Yes.
And they basically said, listen, you're going to feed us information or else we're going to kill your mom. So as soon as they knew about the party, he fed that information to them.
Okay.
So he makes it clear that they were there when he got there. They had been monitoring, and so they were there. So he had to, like, after things were settled about the party, he had to go tell them.
Okay. So this location was potentially real, but Ultra knew about it in advance, so they were able to bug it, essentially, with the D-chips.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, a party, like, for a socialite like that's been set, and there's got to be catering and the booze and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where, you know, I mean, to be honest, they have to go in and put the sensors and stuff in. Yeah. But, like, it's not going to be, you know, a huge undertaking. So
okay, I was trying to figure that out in my brain. The timeline was not.
Yeah, I think it happened when John was mad at him for visiting his mom. I think that all took place then.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it did. That's why I was confused.
Yeah.
About the timing of things. So okay.
But instead of being confused, I mean, did it shock you guys to find out that it was Kurt that gave up everything for them? Because because we're sitting here watching Cara interview everyone, and Steven's like, okay, I think it's me. I think I have a feeling. Read my mind, find out what he got, Cara, dig in deep. And before he even gets to sit down with her, Kurt's like, no, it was me. So that we're at this point in time, I was a little surprised because I think we're all thinking Steven let it slip during his big boss interview. They
Absolutely.
still let us down that line, and you're thinking, damn it, Steven keeps screwing up.
I mean, yeah, kind of. I mean, that's absolutely what I thought, for sure. But in a shocking turn of events, I mean, I would have thought that John would lose it, but it's not. Cara loses it, and we are going to get to hear this scene in all of its
I want you to
intense...
say it like you wrote it here, Harley.
Flory, because I said, holy hell, Cara stripped his powers. I did not see that coming. I thought Steven would talk her off the ledge with saying, that's not easy to come by. We need it to make an antidote. And she still does it. I was super surprised by that.
Ooh, wow. I mean, if she could kill, I think she would have at that
I agree.
point. Like,
She basically did as much as she could.
But like, I'm not sure what she would have done if she didn't have the serum. I mean, teleport him off, drop him off of a I don't know, like, what can they do? They can't kill, so I don't know what she would have done. But listen, now they have no antidote and no serum to make an antidote with. So, and like Flash brought up, like, he doesn't have his powers now, and they know who he is. Like, all these questions are going to be like, okay, how did you lose your powers? Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like, at some point, they're gonna come back and they're gonna question him, unless they somehow force him to go into hiding or hold him captive. I don't know. Like,
well,
what's the answer here?
Get him out of here. So maybe they dump him in Tokyo or something, and he's just just a kid on the streets, and they'll never find him. Who knows? I
don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now what? Like, if he goes home, Ultra's gonna realize he has no powers anymore. Like, like, how is that gonna work? Anyway, so I had questions about that as well.
They were reacting with emotion. They weren't thinking that one through.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking that one through.
Yeah.
Steven attempted to think that one through, and she still did it.
She still did. Well, but not only was that part intense, but the fact that nobody stepped in to stop her.
John even stopped.
John stopped Steven and Russell from moving forward.
Yeah.
And they all just watched. Like, they all felt like, this actually probably should happen. We can't. This kid deserves this.
Know.
Like,
yeah.
We want to cheer for the Tomorrow people, but they're not. They're kind of treading in the gray area. They're not they're not goody heroes. They're
We're assuming that's intentional.
Yeah.
The parallels between them and Ultra.
But at the same time, if Ultra was just gunning them down with machine guns, so it's a killer.
Also true.
What is Jed teaching? Kill or be killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of leaving them no choice. This is what they have to do to survive. So
also true.
Yeah.
But I keep wanting to say this, Harley. I love. That's why I wanted you to read that. Holy hell, because I love that this show is surprising you every single episode. It's,
like, seriously, it's moving fast. Like, there were so many surprises in this. Like, I was not expecting half of what happened in the second half of this episode, because it starts off slow, and I was like, okay, like, this is kind of like normal / boring, borderline. Like, not that I was complaining, like, I was enjoying it, but at the same time, then it just, like, really ramped up. Like, it went from like 0 to 60 like super fast. I was like, oh, whoa,
okay.
But it was good. It was good.
So I wanted to just throw a point in about Irene here too, because you guys talking about how they don't have a serum anymore. Plus, they don't have Irene there to work on it anyway. She's the only one that she was the geneticist. She's the only one that could figure out how to get it. So, Cara isn't playing around anymore. That kid, like Kurt, he caused a lot of death. They lost a lot of members of their team. A lot of people are hurt. I don't blame Cara for losing it like she did. Did she go to extremes? Yes, but they also just lost. I mean, all she did was take his power. She didn't kill him. He caused people to die.
Yeah.
So it's a gray area, but I can't knock her for what she did, and the fact that Irene now could possibly be gone. They might not get an antidote anyway. So I'm curious, are they gonna ultimately kill her off, or will she survive? It'll be interesting to see. I don't know.
I know, but I'm not going to tell.
Oh, you remember?
You remember. Okay.
No, I was working on episode discussion threads and images and saw a clue about the future.
Okay.
So.
I see. Okay. Well, we shall see what happens. All right. Well, in the final scene, Steven breaks down. Astrid keeps confronting him. He can't take it anymore. He needs someone to talk to. And so he finally shows her, for real this time, what he can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was neat because she seemed very happy and excited to be where he had taken her, and that was neat. But Steven knows how dangerous it can be for her. But after what he saw that night, I think he needs someone like her to ground him, somebody who's not looped into all the drama, like not his family who's looped in one way, and not the Tomorrow people who are looped in another, and you've got the people at Ultra. So like, she's still in the situation because of what we saw tonight, but she's outside it enough to give him some clarity on some things. So yeah, I appreciate that.
So what's your reaction, Harley? You just kind of brought up the point. What did you feel about her getting looped in with Steven and this whole, because it was kind of a cute, almost romantic scene, and then you start thinking about but what if? So I want to know how you felt in that.
Not gonna lie, I am shipping them like just a little bit. I think they would make a cute couple.
They're cute.
They are cute. I love their friendship. I was rooting for him to tell her. I was like, come on, say something, do something. And so I was excited when he ends up like teleporting her. I wasn't expecting him to do that. I thought he would do something different, something like telekinesis, or maybe even like say something into her head. I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised that they ended up like teleporting, but I did think that was very cool. So I enjoyed the scene. I was happy he told her. I am worried for her, but I'd already been worried for her because Ultra, like, she's like really on Ultra's radar now since she followed them. So not that she hadn't been before. They, like you said, they've been using her as leverage this entire time. But I don't know. I think it's good for him. I think he needs an outside perspective, someone that he can trust. But at the same time, I'm worried for her safety.
Right. Well, and to piggyback on all of that, like, it's another drama point that I'm glad they don't drag out too far, because we were wondering how long this is going to go. She needs to know. Does she need to know? Is she going to be just a quick character that's no longer on the show because they go separate ways? I think, like you guys do, he needs someone normal in his life to confide in. He can't talk to his little brother, can't talk to his mom. She's the most important person in his life after that, and she's so good to him and worries about him. He needs to confide in her. So I'm really, really happy. And it was such a cute scene. She wasn't scared. She wasn't asking questions. She wasn't getting mad at him. She was completely in the moment of, you took us back to the place where we first became friends, and she just loved the whole moment. And I think she was just like, wow, you teleported. I don't think she's dumb. I think she's putting it together. I saw you disappear at the train tracks, and now you brought us here. I think she's understanding what's going on, and she's just happy and excited that he's finally opening up to her, which is nice. I do have to laugh, though, like, just for old time's sake, if I'm going to have anything to not even nitpick, but just for fun, we haven't done this in a while.
Form of water.
I have to laugh. When you teleport into a place, how do you know that where you're going, you're not going to just jump right into people? Or people are going to witness that you're teleporting in. Like, how do you know that this place is going to actually be empty? Because say there were two people standing in this beautiful romantic place having their first kiss, and bam! Two people just suddenly show up right in front of them. Or someone's walking their dog. Bam! People, get tangled up in the leash of your dog or something. Or, like, how do you know nobody's going to be there to witness you teleporting in? That's my only, I'm just, as a fun nitpick. Because you just don't know.
TV convenience. You absolutely don't know. 100%. Like, TV convenience.
Yeah.
Some homeless bum sitting there, laying in his sleeping bag, having a bottle of wine, and you pop in right in front of him, and he's sees you. Like, I don't know. Anyway, it's just fun. I just laughing.
It is funny. It's an excellent point, and it's a TV show.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a nice moment. Definitely a nice moment.
Yeah.
Well, let's pause for our ad break before we get into favorite scenes.
Shape out an eagle!
All right, we are back. Let's blow off some steam. X-Force, how's that sound?
Yeah, let's take a listen.
Did you have to go so hard on him?
I think I like doing this. They need to understand this isn't a game.
I get that. I think we're all going a little stir-crazy here. Do you remember when we used to teleport into Yankee Stadium just to play softball? Or when you borrowed Princess Grace's diamonds from me on New Year's?
Cara, you were captured by Ultra, almost got a psychic lobotomy last week.
I think a night out could do all of us a lot of good.
It's not worth the risk.
John, what's the point of surviving if we don't get to really live? Dying down here, John, all of us.
It seemed to be working out just fine before someone came along.
Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, I just think that this shows you where they were and how far they've come, and just she knows that he needs that time out and away just as much as everybody else does, and is trying to talk that sense into him, and he's just not listening. So
yeah, I think it's hard on him. Like, you have to kind of sympathize with him. It's tough on him, the position he's in, and everything that's going on. But you also can understand Cara's point of view, because she can see the stress of everything getting to people, and they need a place to blow off some steam, like the name of your clip. So, and I forgot to mention, I mean, holy damn, when they all looked pretty hot when they went out to the party.
Woo.
That blue dress on Cara, woo. Yep.
Yes,
John
indeed.
didn't look too shabby.
Yeah, that
John
was
looked
funny. It's
pretty
like,
good, yep.
yeah, it was funny when Steven said, "Did John see you in that dress?"
I know.
Because why would you be leaving,
Yeah.
You know what I thought, though, in that moment? Because when she shows up in his bedroom in that dress, and she's kind of, you can see she's pissed off with John. They're kind of breaking apart a little bit, and she's having a really nice moment with Steven, because Steven sees her the way she wants to be seen, and you could feel the sparks developing, and you could see that she's starting to kind of fall for him a little bit. I thought, because I didn't remember any of this, I thought Astrid was going to show up. Hey, Steven, I'm here. Are you ready to go to the party? Just as Cara's leaning in to kiss him.
Oh, I thought so too.
Yeah, me too.
I thought so too.
Oh, no. But because we don't know if Astrid likes him. They haven't really expressed that to us yet, if Astrid has more than friendship feelings for Steven.
I think she does.
Yeah, I think so too.
I absolutely think she does. I don't know if he does for her.
Yeah.
But I think she absolutely does for him. 100%.
Which would have made that scene even more heartbreaking for her to witness that.
Exactly. Which is where I thought they were going as well.
And even if not even a kiss, even if it's the fact, like, she's supposed to be going out with Steven on a date, and she walks into his bedroom to find another woman dressed like that in his bedroom. Like, explain that, Steven. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yep. No, I was with you.
All right, well, mine, I named this based off of old style video games. This is called Boss Level.
Nice.
Thank you for coming, Stephen.
Who are you?
I'm not sure we're ready to be on a first-name basis.
Want to meet face to face?
Not yet.
You're one of us. Why are you hunting down your own kind?
It's simple. Someday this war between our species is going to end. And when it does, I'd like to be on the side that's still standing. Wouldn't you?
What do you want from me?
Your abilities are powerful, but also dangerous. Like your father's.
Is that why you had him killed?
His death was unfortunate. It could have been avoided. And that's why I brought you here, to see how alike you are. So show me what it is you're hiding from your uncle and from your new friends.
You know what it just reminded me of? Uncle Jed is Darth Vader. This new guy is Palpatine.
Very good.
Because Vader kept trying to win Luke over, and he's okay. If I can't do it, I'm going to bring you to my boss, the Emperor. And we're like, what? Vader has a boss? It's the exact same feeling. What? Uncle Jed has a boss? Like you thought he was the big boss. So kind of funny.
True.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But, I mean, I just wanted to play that because it's just spooky the way, like, he's in this mansion and he's in an empty office and doesn't actually get to meet the guy. He just hears the voice in his head. So really, I just like that scene because this all blew us away. Like, what? We're completely surprised that this happened, that there is somebody else higher up in charge and, much scarier than Uncle Jed. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Boss level.
I agree.
Steven made it to the boss level. That's what I said.
Absolutely. You can argue that he won.
Yeah. All right, Harley, wrap it up.
All right. I am bringing it home with Not One of Us.
So you went to our enemy?
Went to go say goodbye to my mom for good. You were right. I shouldn't have gone. They were there. What was I supposed to do? They said that they'd kill her if I didn't help them capture you.
So you let them kill 3 of our own instead? We trusted you. We made you one of us, you piece of...
We treated you like family, Kurt. We saved your life, and this is how you repay us?
What do you get? Somebody stop her!
Cara, that serum wasn't easy to come by, okay? He's not worth it.
You're not one of us, Kurt. Not anymore. If you breathe a word of this to anyone, if you try and lead Ultra back here, I swear to God I will get inside your head. I will magnify the pain you are feeling so much you won't recognize your mother's face. Do you understand me, Kurt? Get him out of here.
Wow.
Ooh.
Peyton List
Intense.
is friggin' intense. She is something else. When she gets mad, my God.
Yeah.
The threat, she's so angry, and if you ever did this, you won't even recognize your mother. I was like, whoa, holy crap.
Yeah. A whole other side to Cara that I didn't really realize existed. Like, we've seen John rage out quite a few times, but this was a whole other level.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Whole other level.
Oh man. And the acting and and she jabbed it in his neck and then she held him so he couldn't do she held him while he was seizuring out. She wouldn't even let him get free of that. Just like that. Yeah, again, just intense.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Yeah. But, it was a well done scene. It stood out to me. It was kind of a shock. So that's what I went with.
Yeah. Good scene. Good stuff. Yeah. There's layers to these characters. All right, let's move into some feedback for tonight.
If you don't dial, it will cry like a violin. Feedback.
Comic Geek Kev writes in, "Hello, Legends of Tomorrow people. Well, I've fallen behind again, but I am watching and listening to the podcast. I will keep comments on the past episodes brief. Episode 3 and 4, I love seeing the backstories. I think it really helps to see why the different characters have their viewpoints. Cara was abandoned by her father and John was saved from his foster father, but both for the same reason, their powers. Jedediah is really one manipulative SOB, and Pellegrino does it so well. Steven's mom continues to be my favorite supporting character. Killian McCrane is like the epitome of supervillain names. I wish they had kept him alive as they direct foil to John. That is Killian McCrane. Yeah, my God. Yeah, same with Jedediah, right?
Yep.
Had there been more seasons, we might have found out that Ultra, still a stupid name, dug him up and revived him and triggered another power or something. It's really a shame there was only one season. I know, we're all feeling that. 5 episodes in. I hope we still feel that 22 episodes in. We'll see.
Yeah.
I read the Cara deafness resolution as a one-time thing due to the manifestation of her powers. Why? Who knows? But I think it might have been an interesting story to have her remain deaf. It wouldn't affect so much with the other Tomorrow people, but amongst others, she would have to pretend she's not telepathic and utilize ASL, etc., just a way they could have gone. I'm giving these two a collective score of 8.5. TV Science Explains Everything, hand waves. All right, one of you can take episode 5.
I'll take it. I agree that the Tomorrow People is kind of a dumb name. In the first episode, Cara said they did choose it. I guess it was Ultra. If it was them, I'd like to find another name just for that reason. Yeah.
Let's have a poll, guys. Everyone send in their thoughts. New name.
Yeah. One thing that so far is consistently great on this show is the fight choreography and the way that they incorporate that with their powers. It could easily look really bad and choppy, but it never does. That fight between Cara and John was very cool.
Exactly what we were saying.
Yeah. Yep. I'd love if they made some kind of effort to explain how their teleportation targeting works. It's obviously not line of sight, but as has been explained with other characters with the power set, they shouldn't be able to just go somewhere blindly without concern of popping up inside something solid. And how do they know where someone else has gone if it isn't planned? Like when Steven was following Kurt a few episodes back. I know it's sci-fi, and I'm not really a stickler for that kind of thing. I'll hand wave a lot, but just some kind of explanation would be nice. I think shows that have people that have powers need to have some guidelines to maintain consistency. If you need the character to go beyond that, to write it into the script with the reason. Don't just write around it. For example, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but her powers could be wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know if they ever explained it, so we did our best to try to explain it.
I like Russell, but he feels a common, quote-unquote, minority sidekick as comic relief trope.
Yeah, kind of true.
Yeah. I don't remember if we get a backstory on him, but if not, we should have. And the next Asian character is one of the big bad guys. I would hope a show like this would be handled differently today, but this isn't that long ago. Yeah, still.
I don't remember if we get anything about Russell either. Do you?
Yeah.
X-Force?
We'll have to see. I don't.
You don't remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
Irene gives me immediate Felicity vibes, and at least she seems more her supposed age, although the actress was also around 25 at the time. I'm interested to see what happens with her since she's been injured. John saw a D-chip device at the club. Why didn't he destroy it? I don't know if it would have helped, but it certainly couldn't have hurt. Great question.
Well, there was a lot of them. When you saw that shot under the bar, there's a whole row of them. So there's no way he's going to get to all of them.
Yeah. So, and they'd have to get something pretty powerful to bang him up with, probably too. But anyway.
Yeah, it's not like he had a hammer in his hands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or a knife.
Yeah.
Got the power.
And I guess John's "I can't kill" secret didn't last long. How long till Cara spills the beans to Steven? Yeah.
I can kill. Yeah, exactly. Well, because she ran from John, so she might tell Steven pretty soon. Maybe.
Speaking of secrets, I'm glad Astrid is learning Steven's. As you guys mentioned, they are moving the story right along. Many shows would drag this out and maybe make the reveal the season finale or something.
Yeah, true.
And just use the secret to create a bunch of drama, with Steven having to consistently lie, etc. Totally unnecessary. Clear it up and move on with the rest of the story.
That they did.
Yep. Was definitely a lot happening in this episode, but I missed catching up with Marla. But there's only so many times in a broadcast TV show. Aside from being Marla-less, it was a great episode. I'm giving it 9 out of 10 secrets revealed. Until next time, Comic Geek Kev.
That's right. Mom wasn't in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's totally in tune with all of us about everything we're feeling, and right down to Mom being a great supporting character, unlike we usually get. So
yeah,
I know.
All right. After that is a voicemail from Perry White.
Hey, peeps of tomorrow. Perry White here with feedback for the Tomorrow People episode, All Tomorrow's Parties. And while that's a strange sounding episode title, this is easily my favorite episode of the season. It had real tension. It had real drama and had some pretty cool and fantastic action scenes. And it sort of was the first episode, in my opinion, to sort of involve the sort of entire world of the Tomorrow People, some of the background players. And I think it's important to sort of let the audience know that this show is sort of bigger than just our 3 or 4 leads. And so that was really cool to see. So let me just start like at the very end of this episode, because that's when all the WTF moments, in my opinion, happen. Cara's decision to inject Kurt with the serum, man, that was pretty freaking hardcore, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to say it was out of character, but I'm just wondering if that decision had more to do with her anger toward John, and maybe her anger and frustration with herself for letting her guard down, more than it had to do with her disappointment and feeling betrayed by Kurt, man. That, I mean, like I said, that was a pretty difficult and hardcore decision she made, and she sort of knows exactly what that means and what that entails, man. So I just thought that was pretty devastating for her character. I don't say that I disagree with it. I'm just sort of surprised that she actually did it, particularly when there's a possibility of using that serum to sort of figure out a counter agent to put up a defense against it. But just to use it on Kurt, man, that was pretty that's pretty final decision, man. And wow, man, just freaking crazy. The other thing that I'm glad that they sort of brought toward the audience and sort of, I don't want to say brought resolution to, but I'm not surprised, but I'm actually happy that they didn't draw this out. And this whole thing about the fact that John hadn't revealed the fact that he could kill. And I'm sort of, like I said, glad they did not draw that out. And I'm glad that they were honest with the sort of anxiety and apprehension that he had for revealing that secret. And I'm glad we got to see the honesty that she had about not the secret itself, but just the fact that he kept it from her. And no matter what we're talking about, secrets and that sort of thing, they're never as bad or as difficult as the actual act of keeping someone from someone you love and respect. So don't freaking have secrets, man. Always tell the truth when you can. And speaking of secrets, man, I'm also happy that Steven finally sort of revealed his secret to Astrid. And I was really pleasantly surprised with her sort of response and reaction to it. I thought that was a really cool moment between the characters. And it was really cool to see. Of course, we know that girl's in danger, right? Because Astrid was seen by Darcy And you know Darcy's going to put 2 and 2 together, and basically now she's in the crosshairs of Ultra, and now we're just going to see how that all plays out. Because truth of the matter is, after the decisions that Stephen made in this episode, there's absolutely no way that he can go back undercover at Ultra, man. I mean, he's basically drawn the line, and Jedekai has seen it, so he can't go back there. So he is in Ultra's crosshairs, and now so is Astrid. It'll be interesting to see how they play this out. The last thing I wanted to mention was the character of Irene, or as I like to call her, Felicity. So this show came out, a year or so after Arrow, and I have to assume and imagine that all the folks, all the writers or what have you, watched the show and they said, that Felicity character on Arrow has really given that show some pop. We need to find our own Felicity. And boom, in pops Irene, who already has sort of this adorable crush on Steven, who, isn't a male. So it makes absolute sense. Anyway, I just thought this episode was fantastic. It was tense. It was dramatic. It had some nice fun moments, too. I just can't wait to see where this goes. And the last 2 episodes, in my opinion, have been some of the better ones. And I'm happy and excited to see where this goes. And I'm interested to hear what everyone else has to say about this episode. Anyway, this is Perry White making another deadline. I'll see you guys on the other side of the day. Or is that tomorrow? I'm not exactly sure. I'm out.
Creative as always, Perry. Yep.
Yeah.
Love it. Love that stuff. I love all the words. Adorkable. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like you're
I love that phrase. I say that a lot too.
But I mean, he's right. You can't argue with what Cara did. For some reason, you just feel inside like, I might have not held back from. Like I would have been in John's position. Just let her do what she's got to do, kind of thing too. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad, Carrie, that you're liking the show. I know you were a little bit trepid about it in the beginning, but I'm glad that it's won you over, and now you're excited about where it's going. So I'm glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we still got 17 more episodes, so we got so long. It's gonna be a long road. We got lots to do. Good stuff, everybody. That is all we got for feedback tonight. I know Dreamweaver said she was going to try to get feedback in, but she just couldn't today, so we'll probably hear her next week. If you want to be part of the show, and we sure hope you do, you got lots of time. Lots of time. With all these episodes, it's a long show, so let's get in some feedback.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends Podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy that we're covering the show. I'm happy everyone's liking it, and it's going forward. So, and I truly cannot remember where it ends up. It's so crazy. Like I remember bits and pieces and scenes. Oh yeah, but I can't remember them ahead of time to know what's coming. I remember after I've seen it. That's kind of where it's at. So it's making it fun to get back into it. So.
Well, that's helpful for me.
Yeah,
I get spoiled.
yeah. But that's good. It's totally perfect for the type of shows that we cover, and it's got the sci-fi, and it's got the superpowers, and it's got the good characters. It's just it fits our. I mean, the naming scheme is perfect for us.
That's true.
Because we are Legends of Tomorrow, and this is the Tomorrow people. It's kind of the same thing.
Tomorrow people, tomorrow's legends.
Yeah.
Same difference.
Exactly. Good stuff, guys. Well, everybody have a great weekend. We'll catch you on the other side of that. This is The Flash signing off.
This is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
This is X-Force 11. So say we all.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast Network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.